It's a quiet Tuesday afternoon, or maybe it's 3 a.m. and a question keeps circling your mind. Am I an overthinker? You're not just thinking deeply, you're dissecting every word spoken to you. You're not just planning, you're simulating every possible catastrophic outcome for scenarios that likely won't even happen. If that sounds familiar, you're in the right place. Today we're cutting through the noise with 10 clear, often hidden signs that you might just be a card-carrying member of the Overthinkers Club. Understanding these signs isn't about labels, it's the first step to finding your way out of the mental maze. Let's begin. Sign number 1, you replay conversations like Netflix episodes. This is the classic, the definitive sign. Someone said something casual to you earlier, maybe a quick remark from a coworker or a slightly ambiguous comment from a friend. Now, hours later, you're still mentally hitting the rewind button frame by frame. You're analyzing their facial expression, the exact inflection of their voice, and the precise timing of their pause. You're asking yourself, did they mean something else? Was there a hidden insult in that casual remark? The overthinker's brain won't allow the conversation to simply exist. It must be processed, edited, and ultimately feared. You can't just move on. The mental loop is relentless. Sign number 2, you feel guilty for saying no. For the overthinker, no isn't a simple answer. It's an emotional transaction with painful interest attached. You spend hours before you even say it, constructing an elaborate, perfect justification for your refusal. And then after you've said it, the real overthinking begins. You replay how they might have reacted. You worry that you've hurt their feelings, that they now resent you, or that you've irrevocably damaged the relationship, all because you chose to set a necessary boundary. The burden of guilt often feels heavier than the task you declined. Sign number 3, you overanalyze texts and emails. The lack of nonverbal cues in written communication is pure kindling for the overthinking mind. A simple, short reply like "K" or "sounds good" is immediately run through a dozen mental filters. You begin to search for the hidden meaning, the subtle tone of annoyance that can't possibly be there. Why didn't they use an exclamation point? Why was their response so brief? You draft and redraft your reply multiple times, scrutinizing every comma and emoji, terrified of being misunderstood or sounding too much. Sign number 4, you constantly forecast negative outcomes. This isn't just planning for the worst, it's a dedicated mental exercise in disaster simulation. You're always playing the what-if game, but only the worst-case scenario version. If you have an important meeting, your brain doesn't prepare for success, it prepares for public failure, humiliation, and loss. If a loved one is late, you skip straight past they hit traffic and land on the most extreme possible conclusion. Your brain tries to use these negative forecasts as a shield, believing that if you anticipate the pain, it won't hurt as much when it arrives. Sign number 5, you delay decisions due to analysis paralysis. Even trivial choices become mountainous obstacles. What to wear, what to order for dinner, or which slightly different route to take to work. The overthinker's brain sees every choice not as an option but as a risk. You weigh the pros and cons endlessly, trapped in the fear of making the wrong choice. The sheer volume of data you try to process short-circuits your ability to take action. As a result, you often choose to do nothing at all, simply missing the opportunity entirely while still feeling the exhaustion of having thought about it. Sign number 6, you struggle to fall asleep because your brain won't shut off. When the lights go out, the real show begins. Your brain turns into a late-night talk show host, cycling through the day's events, the week's worries, and the decade's regrets. You know you need sleep, you desperately want to rest, but the moment you lie down, your mind presents an urgent list of things to worry about, to plan, and to review. You might even get up to write down an urgent thought, only to look at it in the morning and realize it was entirely mundane. The 2 a.m. monologue is one of the most isolating experiences of an overthinker. Sign number 7, you are constantly seeking reassurance. Despite your intelligence and your deep analysis of a situation, you rarely trust your own conclusions. You often turn to friends or family to reconfirm a decision you've already made, asking, "Are you sure this is okay? Or did I do the right thing?" This isn't laziness, it's a compulsive need to outsource the responsibility for the outcome. The overthinker believes that if someone else validates the choice, the potential failure is less terrifying. Sign number 8, you personalize everything. You treat every vague or general statement as if it were a direct comment on your character or your behavior. If a boss mentions a need for better organization in the office, you immediately assume they were talking about your desk. If a friend cancels plans, you skip over their probable reason and land on, "They must not like me anymore." This deep personalization causes unnecessary stress, making you feel constantly judged and scrutinized in social situations. Sign number 9, you get mentally exhausted easily. While you may appear calm and quiet on the outside, your internal processor is running non-stop at 100%. The energy required to dissect every social interaction, forecast every failure, and weigh every decision is immense. This leads to a unique kind of fatigue, mental exhaustion. You might feel physically fine, but the idea of making one more decision or having one more intense conversation feels unbearable. It's the silent tax the overthinker pays just to get through the day. Sign number 10, you believe thinking more will lead to a solution. This is the dangerous cycle. The initial problem causes anxiety, which triggers the overthinking, and the more you overthink, the more you are convinced you are close to finding the ultimate answer. You treat the problem like a knot. If you just keep pulling at the threads, it will eventually untangle. But often, your overthinking simply tightens the knot, making the problem harder to solve and the solution more distant. The irony is that the solution usually lies in the quiet space after you stop trying to force the answer. If you nodded along to most of those signs, welcome. Recognizing these patterns isn't a sentence, it's an awakening. It means you are deeply perceptive, thoughtful, and perhaps a little tired. But here's the quiet truth. These aren't flaws, they're simply habits your brilliant brain has picked up. And habits, thankfully, can be reframed and softened. We are all on this journey of seeking calm insights for the overloaded mind. Now, I'd love to know which of these signs hit closest to home for you. Share your number in the comments below. Your honesty helps build a space where no overthinking brain feels alone. If this exploration of your amazing, sometimes overloaded, brain felt like a breath of fresh air, remember to subscribe to Dear Overthinker. We're here to be your digital Sherpa, guiding you through the mental loops with calm, actionable insights. Our next video dives into the very first sign we discussed: why overthinkers replay conversations like Netflix episodes, a perfect follow-up if that particular cycle resonated with you. Until then, allow yourself a moment of quiet.